Jsme zpátky u Let's Playe Broken Sworda, prvního Broken Sworda a hrajeme si tuhletu pěknou adventuru v úplně původním vydání, to znamená žádný remaster. Díváte se na hru tak, jak vypadala v roce, kdy vyšla. A což je teda 1996. Pátráme po tajeném muži, kterýho se podařilo Nico vyfotit, když byl George po výbuchu před kavárnou. A ten tajemný muž je nejspíš někdo, kdo je možná za ten výbuch zodpovědný, protože byl nejspíš přestrojení klauna, když vlezl do toho lokálu, vyměnil kufřík panu Plantardovi, což je ten, který tam zemřel, za svoji klaunovskou tahací harmoniku, ve který nebylo nic jiného než načasovaná bomba a pak prásk. No a George je do toho zapletený, protože co by turista před tou kavárnou seděl a snaží se teďko věci přijít na kloub. Seznámil se s Nico, což je taková novinářka, nebo spíš fotoreportérka na volné noze. A teď spolu se snaží přijít na to, kdo vraždil v kavárně a komu stálo za to tam dát bombu. A hlavně, není to první tenhle incident. Nico jako novinářka už Georgeovi prozradila, že už se tyhle vraždy v přestrojení párkrát staly a nejspíš zatím bude něco víc. Takže my máme fotku a vlastně my bychom se teď měli vydat. Do kostymérny, odkud nejspíš byl ten kostým klauna vypůjčený, což už jsme naším pátráním zjistili v předchozím díle taky.
It was a disgustingly realistic plastic novelty, like one I'd left on the teacher's desk at school. Boy, that caused so much of a stink you'd have thought it was a real one. As my fingers closed on the plastic novelty, I realized my mistake. It was a novelty, all right, but it wasn't plastic. She reminded me of a girl I dated back in high school. Come to think of it, the dummy had more personality. As I was about to touch the dummy, I realized it had the same color eyes as Nico. The strange thing was, I hadn't realized I'd noticed the color of Nico's eyes.
Yeah.
The dummy wore a traditional Puro costume. At least, I guess it was a dummy. I gave the dummy Puro a tentative prod, but it didn't move. It was an antique phonograph, the kind you have to wind by hand. The guy's spoon-shaped face was mournful and humorless. He looked like a vegetarian in a slaughterhouse. It was an antique phonograph.
Sakra, já jsem to chtěl vypnout a ne znova natáhnout. Tak třeba to za chvíli přestane hrát.
Excuse me.
Bonjour, monsieur. Please, come in. Welcome.
Dobrý.
Leave the mundane world behind. For in these four walls, fantasy is king.
I don't want a costume.
Didn't you ever dress up when you were a child?
Not that I remember.
Incredible. You'll be telling me next that you never shared your elder sister's lingerie.
I don't have a sister, and I think I'd look pretty silly in a brassiere. I just need some information.
Of course. How can I help you?
Have you heard of a man named Plantard?
I do not recall anyone of that name.
I'm looking for a man who hired a clown costume from you.
Oui, monsieur. I do not see how I can help.
Don't you keep a record of costumes that you've rented out?
Of course, monsieur, but...
Well, then I'd like to check your records. Give me the names of everyone who's rented a clown suit.
Impossible. There are too many.
The clown I'm looking for is a cold-blooded killer. Give me his name, and I'll see he's brought to justice.
I'd help you if I could, but you can't expect me to remember all my customers. You see, the clown costume is our most popular line, monsieur. On average, we hire out more than 30 clown suits a week. You'll have to give me more to go by. A description, perhaps?
How come clowns are so popular?
I think it has something to do with their unpredictable nature.
Personally, I think clowns should be banned, along with mimes.
Oh, come now. Who doesn't love clowns?
Me, for one. Do you recognize this man?
Ah oui? He was here this morning.
Does this dirty tissue mean anything to you?
Let me smell that. Bestheimer's number 7 white pancake.
Theatrical grease paint, right?
Oui, monsieur. La crème de la crème of Thespian accoutrement.
Have you sold any of it recently?
Yes, 2 cans.
What does this tool mean to you?
Nothing, monsieur.
Do you want this red nose back?
Not after it's been worn, thank you.
Are you sure this is the man who bought grease paint?
Oui, monsieur. He chose 2 costumes. Bozo the clown and Seamus the pixie.
A pixie?
Very smart. Green silk with a taffeta lining. He gave me his name as Monsieur Khan.
Are you sure this is the same man who hired the clown suit?
Certainement, Monsieur Khan.
Thanks for your help, buddy.
My pleasure, monsieur. Allow me to shake you by the hand.
Huh? Well, okay. What are you trying to do, kill me?
You did not find it amusing?
I never saw the funny side of electroshock therapy.
Eh bien, it is yours to keep. A gift?
Do I need a license?
No, but I give you a word of warning, monsieur.
What?
Remember to switch it off before you visit the toilet.
Tak, docela jsme se pohli. Už víme, že ten člověk se jmenuje Khan. Kde bychom po něm mohli zapátrat? Musíme se podívat ještě zpátky ke kavárně.
Hi.
You're the guy who gave me the tip, aren't you?
Huh?
The racehorse, Salahedin.
Oh, yeah, but
I put every franc I had on that horse.
listen,
My lifetime savings, next month's rent, everything.
Oh, God.
She won by 3 lengths. I'm a rich man.
Call me Lucky George, the punter's friend. So how come you're still here?
I'm not going to let my newfound wealth change me, not one bit. I bought this hole, fittings and all. Now I can come and go as I please. No more clocking on or completion schedules. No foreman breathing down my neck. Thanks to you, I've found paradise.
I'm getting a mushy feeling in my chest. But not half as mushy as your head.
What do you want now?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
I gotta go.
Don't let me keep you.
Hi there, remember me?
Ah, mais oui, Inspector. Have you found him?
Who?
The man in the sewer, of course.
I'm, sifting through the evidence.
Rather you than me, monsieur. That reminds me, someone's been impersonating you. Came sniffing around just after you'd gone. Bold as brass. He tried to tell me he was a policeman. Inspector Rousseau, he claimed. I didn't tell him I'd been talking to you, not hours before.
Thank goodness. Impersonating a police officer is a serious offense. A man with so little respect for the law must be desperate.
Yes, my father used to say, desperation opens the door to the devil. He was always coming out with things like that. Stupid man. So, when you are not exploring sewers, what do you do?
I take a lot of showers.
Oh, very good, monsieur. A policeman with a sense of humor.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, I do. It's that villain I told you about.
No,
I
potvrzuje
have to be
se to.
going.
Good luck, Inspector. I hope you catch that killer soon.
Kavárna zabedněná. Myslím si, že už tady nic víc neuděláme. Zkusíme se podívat ještě na policejní stanici, i když možná bychom Rossovi úplně neměli moc chodit na oči, protože tady běháme z jeho navštívenkou a vydáváme se za něj.
Excuse me.
Ah, Monsieur Stobart, n'est-ce pas?
That's correct. You remember me.
The retention of such data is part of my duty as a gendarme. That is how crime is fought, through attention to detail, not intuition.
Yes, sure. I've tracked down the clown's movements, Sergeant.
Is that so, monsieur?
Yeah. There's a man down the street who saw him crawling out of the sewer.
Dressed as a clown?
No, he changed into ordinary clothes by then.
So, how did he know it was the clown?
He didn't, but all the clues add up.
Little children can add up, but I wouldn't let them manage my bank account.
Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Not really. Do you know a man named Khan? He's a shifty-looking guy with a scar on his left cheek.
No, monsieur. Has this man any connection with the bombing of the cafe?
Yes. I believe Khan was the name he used when he hired the clown costume. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, monsieur.
It's the guy who bombed the cafe. The clown.
This man looks nothing like a clown.
He's taken off his grease paint and costume.
Then there is nothing to link this man with the killing.
Nothing? Look at those murderous eyes.
Hardly likely to get him convicted.
Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is.
Yes, I do.
One moment, monsieur. Stobart is here to see you, monsieur.
Did he say what it was about?
No, monsieur.
Very well.
Hi, Inspector. Remember me?
But of course, Mr. Stobart. My mind is a well-ordered faculty. A mental classification system that's the envy of the Bibliothèque Nationale. No tricks, mark you, monsieur. Just exercise. Just as our muscles waste through inactivity, so our minds decay. But there is no need, if only people would learn to exercise their wits daily.
If he was trying to impress me, it worked. He was pompous and patronizing, but he had style.
Eh bien, if you called about the bombing, you're too late. Investigations have been closed.
But
I've been taken off the case.
what about the murderer, the dead guy?
It is out of my hands.
To šlo rychle.
What was that psycho-detective business you did in the cafe?
It is my theory that the passions evoked in violent crimes create ripples in the ether, invisible to all but the possessor of a highly developed and receptive mind.
I'm impressed. Can you bend spoons, too?
I didn't think a man of your obvious intelligence would stoop to mockery.
I'm not mocking. I've had personal experience of the power of the mind. I used to get ignored at parties until I read a book that changed my life.
Really? What was it called?
Hypnotism for Fun and Profit. He looked at me as if I'd farted at a funeral.
The power of mesmerism is a rare gift, not a party trick.
You're not going to try any of that psychic interrogation on me, are you?
Do you find the thought of my probing distasteful?
Let's just say I'd rather you didn't. I've got more doubts than doubting Thomas when it comes to mysticism.
Too bad. I think you would make an interesting subject under controlled regression.
The day I let anyone mess with my mind hasn't dawned yet. Did you find out the ID of the guy who was killed in the explosion?
I already knew who he was.
I heard that the bomb victim's name was Plantard.
Your sources are reliable.
He was a big shot at the Treasury, wasn't he? Maybe that's why you've been taken off the case.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I cannot comment.
Don't you want to know what I found out about the killer?
I told you, monsieur, the case is closed. I have washed my hands of the whole affair.
Then I'll have to continue my investigations without your help.
No. You must forget the business of the clown completely. Go back to being an ordinary tourist, Stobard.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No.
It's the face of a killer.
The man who bombed the cafe?
The photograph was taken soon after the explosion. He'd escaped through the sewers, leaving a trail of clues behind him.
Circumstantial evidence, Stobard. None of it proves a thing.
So long, Inspector.
Takže inspektor je odvolaný z případu.
Salut, George. What news?
I've been to the costume shop.
Yeah, I like it. What are you supposed to be?
I didn't hire a costume. These are my clothes and you know it.
Did you ask about the clown?
Yeah. He used the name Khan. He hired 2 costumes, the clown and a pixie.
Then we're one jump ahead of him.
How do you make that out?
He probably plans to use the pixie suit next time he kills.
Oh, God, don't let it be me. I don't deserve to die at the hands of a pixie.
Don't be silly, George. That won't happen.
Oh, no?
No, because every time you see a pixie, you're going to run like hell.
What are you doing to help trace the killer clown?
Research, George.
Yeah? You have a copy of the clown's yearbook?
I have a telephone and lots of contacts.
Oh, well, did you find anything useful?
Not yet. I'm employing my first and most useful weapon.
What's that?
Patience.
Oh, I've heard of that. Isn't it a substitute for decisive thinking? Have you found out any more about the murders?
Well, it may be nothing, but both the clown's victims visited Paris earlier this year.
When?
The second week of July. They were both here at the same time.
Did they meet?
I don't know, but I can't imagine it was coincidence.
Do you want this photograph back?
No, you keep it. I can always make another print.
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks. Hello? Who is this? I found out the name of the guy I'm looking for.
Is that so?
Yeah, it's Khan. You know who I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I delivered the suit to his hotel. The Hotel Ubu. I don't remember the room number. It was upstairs. The second room on the right-hand side of the corridor.
Thanks, Todrick. That's all I wanted to know. Now I've got you, Mr. Clown. Now we're getting somewhere. Do you know the Hotel Ubu?
The Ubu? Yes, I do.
That's where the clown stayed.
Good work, George.
Tak se vydáme do hotelu.
See you later.
Where are you going now?
I could go hang out at the Hotel Ubu.
Watch out for Khan, George.
Don't worry, I will.
Tak tady je hotel. A v něm nejspíš najdeme toho našeho podezřelýho. George se teda nebojí říct rovnou vraha.
The lobby was quiet, almost deserted. The sign listed the price of rooms, and boy, were they expensive. The killer must have been earning a fat wad to pay for accommodation like this. The man looked like an amiable Bigfoot. The guy looked just like a weasel. Excuse me.
Yes?
Do you know a man by the name of Khan?
No, I don't.
It's very important I get to see him, and
I told you. I don't know it.
I'm looking for a clown.
Are you trying to be funny?
No, I really am looking for a clown.
There are no clowns here except you.
Have you heard of a guy called Plantard?
No, that name means nothing to me.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
No, I never saw him.
What does this tissue mean to you?
Are you serious?
Oh, yes. Take a good look at the substance it's smeared with.
You are sick. Very sick.
Skoro bych na něm vyzkoušel ten bzučák, ale něco mi říká, že bych dostal po čumáku.
Forget it.
Ale já to stejně vyzkouším.
Excuse me. Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
Ach jo, to je nuda.
Forget it.
Tak co ten druhej?
Excuse me.
Yeah?
No, ten bude ještě o něco inteligentnější. Každopádně není úplně bezpečný se tady jen tak vyptávat na ty lidi. Kdo ví, kdy George narazí na někoho, koho Khan zná, anebo on zná Khana a spolupracuje s ním.
Have you seen a guy dressed as a clown?
No, I ain't. Don't tell me I missed him. Oh, that's too bad. I love the clowns, don't you?
I've seen daytime television that was funnier.
I love it when the little guys get hurt.
That figures.
Custard pies, hose pipe down the pants, then smack! A plank in the kisser.
You ever meet a guy called Plantard?
No, I ain't.
You missed your chance. If you're quick, you'll catch him at the coroner's. Do you happen to know a guy named Khan?
That ain't nobody I know.
I'm sorry to be a burden on your brain. Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
Is this a trick question?
No, I simply asked if you recognized him.
Okay then. Nope, I don't.
Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
Nope.
Do you recognize the guy in this photograph?
Is this a trick?
No.
Okay.
Shake my hand.
Nah.
Oh, rats. See you later.
Not if you see me first.
The figure of a sexless youth was frozen in mid-skip with a silly grin on its stone lips. It was a magnificent old Steinway piano. I figured the lady at the keys wouldn't appreciate a duet with a musical illiterate like me. It was the register of guests staying at the hotel. There was no one registered under the name of Khan. If the killer was staying here, he'd used a different pseudonym. The clerk wore a disdainful expression, like he'd been born with it. I want some information.
Who are you? The police?
I'm conducting a private investigation.
Ah, I know only too well what you mean. That is one of the drawbacks of the catering business. When people book into an hotel, they leave their morals at home, no?
I'm looking for a man who dresses like a clown.
This is a highly respectable hotel, monsieur. There are no clowns here.
If you say so. Do you have a guest by the name of Khan?
No, monsieur. Perhaps you would care to check the register.
The man who calls himself Khan has a scar on his left cheek.
Vraiment? I tell you, I do not know a man named Khan.
Maybe not, but I'd noticed a change in his expression when I mentioned the scar. Do you know a man named Plantard?
No, monsieur.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Yes, monsieur. That man is one of our guests.
What name?
I cannot tell you that.
A hele.
Can you tell me which room the man in the photograph has taken?
Oh, no, monsieur. That information is confidential.
Would it make a difference if I told you the guy in the photo was a murderer?
We are accustomed to catering for celebrities, monsieur. Movie stars, politicians, royalty, sporting personalities, they all stay here.
Did I show you this photograph?
Yes, you did, monsieur.
Do you recognize this red nose?
No, monsieur.
Hey, shake my hand.
I'd rather not, monsieur. I'm still sore from the shock administered by one of the guests. He was secretly concealing an electrical device in the palm of his hand. Practical jokes are so puerile, don't you think?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thanks for your help, buddy. Hanging from a brass hook was a key and a plastic tag.
Excusez-moi, monsieur.
What?
You were trying to steal that key, no?
No way. The sign on the door read 21. The door was locked. The sign on the door read 22. If the tailor's description was correct, this was the killer's room. The door was locked. Room number 23. The door was locked.
Překvapivě. Budeme muset nějak spacifikovat dole toho recepčního.
I recognized the guy. It was the Nobel Prize winner from the country whose name I couldn't pronounce. Excuse me, didn't I see your picture in the news? You're that Nobel Prize winner from some unpronounceable Eastern European state.
Yes, that is me, in person.
I don't want to worry you, but have you had any threats on your life? You know, mysterious phone calls, letters made up of headlines cut from the newspaper.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you seen a clown?
I beg your pardon?
The clown. A guy in funny pants. Have you seen him?
My pants are from England. Marks and Spencer. They are a pleasure and a comfort to wear with much support.
I'm real glad to hear that. You know, it's good to know you Nobel Prize winners are human too.
In my country, the people make do with string and egg cartoons.
For pants?
For everything. Oppression is the mother of ingenuity.
Do you know a guy called Plantard?
I don't know anybody in Paris.
Oh, well, this guy's dead anyhow.
Why do you ask me about dead men? I have seen enough of death to last me a lifetime.
I'm, sure you have. Do you recognize this man? He calls himself Khan.
Yes, I know this man. Why do you carry his photograph?
I'm a private detective. What's your interest in Khan?
He is an enemy of my people.
You know he's a killer?
Of course, amongst other things.
Would you help me investigate Khan?
That is not possible. My instructions are to observe. I cannot jeopardize my position as an honored guest of this country's government.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
The woman was obviously English. She had all the qualities of Boadicea, Elizabeth I, and Margaret Thatcher rolled into one. It wasn't a pretty sight. Hi there, ma'am.
Well, hello. What can I do for you?
I'm looking for a man.
You disappoint me, my dear. For one foolish moment I thought... But never mind. Aren't you going to tell me your name?
George Stobart, ma'am.
How sweet! I once had a stable boy called George. I am Lady Piermont. The common reaction is to kneel and stutter, but it's not obligatory.
A real lady? I mean, You're an honest-to-God aristocrat?
Oh, I don't know about that. Few of my ancestors are honest, not even to God. I can trace my family back to the Normans, but don't let that intimidate you, George. Beneath that impressive pedigree, I'm just flesh and blood. The blood may be blue, but the flesh is the plump beef of old England, so to speak. You appear distracted, George. Is there any way I can help you?
Are you here in Paris on vacation?
No, darling, I'm on holiday. I needed to get away after Algy's funeral.
I didn't realize you were mourning the loss of a loved one.
I'm not. He was my husband.
Slušnej.
I'm sorry to hear about your husband's death.
You wouldn't be if you knew him, my dear. It gave me the opportunity to take a well-deserved holiday. Daphne suggested a change of scenery. Paris, she said. A wild romance is just what you need to take your mind off the inquest. Well, the closest I came to romance was being wooed by a drunken Breton chef. I must say I was disappointed with his coq au vin. Not at all what I was expecting. I was thinking of cutting my holiday short, packing my bags and heading back to Hempstead. That was until last night.
Nevím, jestli to chci slyšet dál.
What happened to you last night?
I was stricken, Mr. Stobart. Cupid's arrow has cleft my bosom.
They couldn't really miss.
It was just as I'd always imagined it should be. The intimacy of candlelight, romantic music tinkling across the room, and then a stranger's glance. Those brooding eyes, that suave manner, those tight trousers. He was the man I'd been waiting for all my life.
I'm glad he finally turned up after all these years.
Ah, but it wasn't to be. He was merely toying with my affections. And if I ever catch up with him, he's dead.
Who was the guy who led you on?
His name is Merlin.
Did you know there's a gangster out front?
What makes you think he's a gangster?
The Italian suit and the bulge in his pocket?
I know plenty of men with Italian suits and bulges in their pockets. That doesn't necessarily make them gangsters.
Would you distract the clerk while I borrow a key?
Are you asking me to aid you in a criminal act, darling?
I guess I am.
Good heavens, I must be dreaming.
I don't think so, ma'am.
Now tell me, why do you want to get into that room?
It's next to the room the killer is using.
What killer?
It's a long story. I'm looking for a murderer.
Good heavens! You're a private detective.
That's correct, ma'am.
What's the term you Americans use? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I believe what you're thinking of is Dick.
Precisely.
Have you come across a man who calls himself Khan?
I am familiar with only one person named Khan.
Genghis Khan, the legendary Mongol barbarian chieftain?
No, darling. Kevin.
Kevin Khan? I never heard of him.
I'd be most surprised if you had, darling. He's a pharmacist in Hempstead. Organises fundraising for the Rotarians. Lovely man.
Does he have a scar on his cheek?
I really wouldn't know, sweetie.
I really need that key bad.
I'm not convinced I should help you, darling.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
My God, it's him! That's Merlin.
She represented everything I loved about the English. The lady was totally deranged. Merlin? You mean King Arthur's wizard?
Good heavens, no! Monsieur Merlin is a fellow guest. He's the man I've been telling you about. That's the man who spurned me.
Tak se mu pomsti.
The man you know as Merlin is a fake.
What do you mean, sweetie?
He's a murderer. He also uses the name Khan.
I am shocked, Mr. Stobart. Shaken. I took him to be a gentleman, a man of honor. Do you know, I'd rather like to assist you in stitching him up.
Tak jdem na to.
When did you last see Merlin?
It was no more than an hour ago. He came downstairs and spoke to that clerk chappie. Something passed hands. I couldn't see what exactly.
A briefcase?
No, smaller than that. A bundle of papers, perhaps. The clerk put it in the hotel safe and Merlin went out.
Are you sure you saw Merlin putting documents in the safe?
Yes, darling, positive.
I wonder what they were.
Obviously something of great importance.
Yeah. I'd sure like to get my hands on whatever it is. I'll bet they had something to do with Plantard's briefcase. Has Merlin returned to the hotel?
No, he hasn't. Are you going to search his room?
If I could get in there, I would.
And that's why you want the key?
Yes, ma'am.
I shouldn't think my feminine charms would be much use in this case. But a good dose of English arrogance might do the trick. I say! You there? Flunky!
Oui, madame.
Listen carefully. You do understand English, don't you?
But of course, madame.
Good. I wish to deposit some jewellery for safekeeping.
I understand.
Are you quite certain?
Oh, bien sûr, madame.
Over to you, my dear.
There was no one registered under the name of Khan, but the name in the book for room 22 was Merlin. In the back of the office was a small safe with a combination lock. Maybe it wasn't the right room, but this was the right key.
No. Jistota je jistota.
It was a massive mahogany wardrobe. There was nothing in the wardrobe apart from a vague, lingering smell of camphor. A cabinet stood beside the bed. The cabinet was empty, but it smelt of onions. No kidding, it really did. The window looked out over a narrow alley surrounded by high walls.
George se chystá spadnout dolů.
The cabinet had no drawers, just a single door. The assassin had been too smart to leave incriminating evidence beside his bed. The bed was several times larger than the narrow cot I'd been given at the place I was staying. The bed was freshly made, and the crisp white sheets told me nothing about the killer's habits. The closet was a solid, impressive piece of antique furniture. The interior of the closet was large enough for me to climb right in.
Tady nic není.
I had the kind of feeling in my stomach that would usually send me running to the bathroom. The pants matched the jacket which the killer had lost in Paris. I couldn't believe my luck when I found 2 items in the pockets of the pants. The first was an ordinary matchbook. No matches, no clues. The second was a pass card which read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation. There was nothing else in the pockets of the killer's pants. The matchbook bore a pattern of swirling color and the words, Club Alamut. It was the card I'd found in the hotel bedroom. It read, Thomas Merlin, Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Co s tím? To moc informací není. Moment, tady je taška.
It was the battered leather briefcase I'd seen Plantard carrying just before he died. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but as I'd half expected, it was empty. In the ornate booth was the most elegant public telephone I'd ever seen.
Bonjour, couleur.
Hi, it's George. I have the address of the killer's hotel.
If you're going to pay him a visit, take care. Remember, that guy's a professional.
Thanks. I'll be fine. Hello again. Do you recognize this card?
No, I do not.
Does the name on this matchbook mean anything to you?
Indeed it does, for Alamut was the home of the old man of the mountains. You do not know him?
No, I don't. Do you recognize this card?
No,
Tell me again about Alamut.
It is the home of the old man of the mountains.
Thanks for your help.
Goodbye.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I got the key. Thanks for your help, ma'am. I found this pass in Merlin's room.
So, that deceitful little man is passing himself off as an electrician, is he?
Uh-huh. This guy probably has 1,000,000 faces. Would you like to keep Merlin's pass as a memento?
No, darling. My broken heart is reminder enough.
Would you like to keep...
No.
I found this matchbook in Merlin's bedroom.
It came from the Club Alamut. It might be useful to find out if that club is in Paris, George.
I found this matchbook in...
It came from the club... It might...
I have to go, ma'am.
What now, monsieur?
Does this pass mean anything to you?
That is Monsieur Merlin's property.
That's right. Merlin the murderer. I want to see what he's left in your safe.
Impossible. I cannot betray his confidence, no matter what you say he's done.
You're making a big mistake.
Maybe. I can live with that.
Did I show you this pass?
Oui, monsieur.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
Non, monsieur.
I'd like to retrieve something from your safe.
Ah, oui, monsieur. May I see some form of identification?
Like what?
A driving license, perhaps?
I don't drive.
Your passport?
I don't have it with me. I could show you my operation scar.
I'm sorry, monsieur. I must have some form of unique ID.
You won't find a more unique ID than my scar.
I'm sorry. I must insist on a more traditional identification.
Rats. Thanks for your help, buddy. The door was locked.
Už zase? To musím jít zase přes Římsu. Ach jo.
The door was locked.
Jo, takhle. To musím dokonce znova otevřít.
The cobbles of the alleyway looked very distant and very hard. If I wanted my shins sticking out of my shoulders, I could have jumped. Mama Stobart didn't raise no suicidal fools, though.
Předpokládám, že v té skříni už nic není.
There was nothing else in the pockets of the killer's pants. I searched the interior of the briefcase, but, as I'd half expected, it was empty.
By se mi hodilo odlákat toho týpka ještě jednou. Kvůli trezoru.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
I have to go, ma'am.
Just a minute, monsieur.
What's your problem?
No problem, if you cooperate.
What do you want?
Just a routine security check, nothing to worry yourself about.
Oh, well, all right.
Search him, Flap.
You bet.
Hey, knock it off. Get off, you big ape.
Nothing, Guido. Zilch.
Our apologies, monsieur.
What? I had to report you to the authorities.
Round here, we are the authorities.
You want I should break his arms?
No. Let him go, Flap.
Hey, Shorty. I didn't think much of your trick, little man. I don't know what you're looking for, but you picked on the wrong guy. Maybe you'll spread the word around the sewers. George Stobart is on the case. That's Stobart. 2 B's and 2 T's. It sounded impressive to me, but the weasel didn't seem to share my enthusiasm. Still, I figured he'd think twice before gunning me down in the street in cold blood.
I do not like your tone.
Oh, yeah? And what are you going to do about it?
If you do not go away, I will gun you down in cold blood, right here in the street, without thinking twice about it.
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking? Who knows where it has been?
Do you know a guy called Merlin?
No.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
It is just a matchbook. Why should I recognize?
Forget it. Excuse me.
Yeah?
Don't you think you have some explaining to do?
Huh?
I'm an American citizen and a bona fide visitor to your country.
What the...
You can't touch me up in the street and expect to get away with it.
Get lost, creep.
No point in phoning that guy again.
Bonjour, couleur.
Hi, it's George. Are you okay?
I'm fine.
Jak si tady na ně přijdem?
Hold it right there. Search him again, Flap.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay, let him go.
Excuse me.
What do you want now?
I'd like to report an assault.
Yes, monsieur? Where is the victim?
I'm the victim. I've been harassed by a pair of thugs.
I see. And where did this alleged assault take place?
Outside the Hotel Ubu. They stopped me as I was leaving and went through my pockets.
Could you describe the suspects, monsieur?
One looked like a gorilla, and the other looked like a weasel. Their names are Flap and Guido.
Bon. I'll get them this time.
What are you going to do about Flap and Guido, Sergeant?
I'm going to bust them, monsieur. For years I have been hoping to pin something on that pair. Now's my chance. I'll show them, and the inspector.
Thanks, Sergeant. Thanks for taking me seriously.
I'm only doing my duty, monsieur.
Is Rosso here?
Yes, he is. You wish to speak to him?
Not really. Does the name Merlin mean anything to you, Sergeant?
Nothing, monsieur.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you, Sergeant?
That's a double-line Swedish with a crosshatch Bergman strike strip. Now, that's unusual. Pre-war Anderson hinging.
Really?
I haven't seen a reinforced Anderson outside of a private collection.
It's rare, then?
In this part of the world, yes. There are only 3 places these are made. Taiwan, Manila, and Slough.
Does this matchbook mean...
That's a double... Now...
Really?
I have...
It's...
In this part, there are only...
Is Rosso here?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
One moment.
Zajímavé.
It's Stobart, monsieur. He insists on talking to you again.
Thank you, Moo.
Že by ty sirky měl u sebe z nějakého dalekého cestování, anebo je ten klub tady skutečně někde v Paříži?
What now, monsieur?
Does the name Thomas Merlin mean anything to you?
No, monsieur, nothing.
It's another one of the assumed names used by the killer.
Ah, the famous killer clown case.
Yeah. You might have forgotten all about it, but I still aim to find that guy. Does the name Thomas...
No.
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, monsieur. I suggest you ask Sergeant Moo about that. God only knows why, but he collects matchbooks. He claims it is a hobby.
So long, Inspector.
No tak jsme trochu ve slepý uličce.
Oh, hi.
Hello, my handsome friend.
Can you tell me anything about this security pass?
I can tell it doesn't belong to you.
How come?
Give me some credit. If you're an electrician, I'll eat my antirhinums.
You're a remarkably talented lady. Can you tell me anything about this
I can tell it doesn't...
Does this matchbook mean anything to you?
No, but I can tell you one thing. There's no such place as the Club à la Mue in Paris.
Výborně, tak...
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
První domněnka se mi jako osvědčila, že ten klub Alamut bude s Merlinem spojený, ale bude to asi někde úplně jinde.
What do you think I should do next?
I think he should look for clues at the hotel.
I guess so.
Ale teď to jsem se snažil.
I found this in the killer's room.
What is it, a credit card?
ID, Thomas Merlin, of the Gruber Electronics Corporation.
Never heard of him or the company.
I found this matchbook in the killer's hotel room. It's from the Club Alamut.
Never heard of it. Is there anything written inside it?
No, what were you expecting?
If this was a movie, there'd be a clue, a name or an address. That's no use. There aren't even any matches in it.
Oh well, I'll keep it as a souvenir. Did I show you this map?
Huh?
May I use your telephone?
Sure, go ahead.
Thanks. No point in phoning that guy. See you later.
Where are you going now?
I could go back to the Hotel Ubu, I guess. Whatever those two thugs are after must be important.
Tak co my s nima provedem? Seržant Mu tyhle ty dva týpky nejspíš už zná. Asi po nich i nějakou dobu jde.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
It's no good pretending you don't understand me.
For the last time, get lost.
Oh yeah? And what if I don't? What if I call the cops?
First, I break your arms at the elbows and wrists. Then, when you recover consciousness, I break your fingers.
There's just one flaw in your plans, Ape Man.
What's that?
It's broad daylight. I don't think even you would assault me on a busy street. Of course, this tranquil square at the end of a cul-de-sac. This isolated corner of Paris that hasn't seen a street sweeper's brush since VE Day. This would be just about perfect for a mugging. Pardon me, I'm about to get very lost.
Get lost, creep.
Hey, Shorty! What does this key mean to you?
Nothing.
Have you ever seen this clown's nose before?
No.
Do you know a guy called
No.
What is this tool?
Hard labor.
What does this tissue mean?
Are you serious?
Oh yes. Take a good look at the substance it's smeared with.
You are sick.
Will you shake my hand?
Are you joking?
Forget it. Hi, ma'am.
Hello, George. What can I do for you now?
Would you like to keep Merlin's pass as a memento?
No, Doc.
I showed the pass to the clerk, hoping he'd give me Merlin's papers. But he wouldn't buy it. He's too scared.
I'll give him something to be scared of. Follow me, George!
Já to tušil, že britská aristokratka nebyla na scéně naposledy.
Did you place a package from Merlin in the hotel safe?
I did, madame.
And did my friend here show you Merlin's identification?
Indeed he did, but
What's the problem?
he isn't Merlin.
A mere academic detail. Give him the package.
But that is against the law.
I happen to be a justice of the peace, you silly man. I am the law. If he tries anything, shoot him, George.
My pleasure, Lady Piermont.
One moment, please.
You know, I haven't enjoyed myself this much since Greenham Common.
I don't know what I would have done without you, Lady Piermont.
Voilà, monsieur. Le manuscrit de Monsieur Merlin.
Thanks.
How satisfying. An Anglo-American alliance that actually worked.
The clerk had given me a tightly rolled sheet of parchment. I decided not to unroll it until I was safely back in Nico's apartment.
No jo. Jestli polezu ven dveřma, tak ho u mě najdou. Ale napadlo mě, že bych ho hodil do uličky a pak si pro něj došel, až mě prošacujou. Dává to smysl.
I knew this was no way to treat an ancient manuscript, but I couldn't let it fall into the hands of the goons waiting outside.
Hold it right there. Search him again, Flat.
Nothing, Guido.
Okay, let him go.
If the manuscript was what Flap and Guido were after, they were going to be disappointed. I couldn't wait to get back to Nico's apartment and check it out. You're just not going to believe what I've found.
It's not another part of the clown's costume, is it?
It's a medieval manuscript. Khan left it in the safe at the U-boot.
It's incredible. Is this what he took from Plantard?
It could be, which means it's worth enough to kill for.
Look there, two guys on the same horse.
Oh yeah, maybe they couldn't afford one each. What of it?
Have you ever heard of the Knights Templar? Their official seal was an image of two knights sharing a horse. Whatever this manuscript means, it's connected with the Templars.
How come you know about these knights?
I learned about them while writing an article on the Crusades. This guy, named Hughes de Payen, arrived one day at the court of King of Jerusalem. He offered to protect the Christian pilgrims from the displaced Muslim armies. The king would be able to guarantee safe transit to Christians in the Holy Land. Safer journeys meant more pilgrims, and pilgrims meant trade and wealth. The Templars proved invaluable to the king as a mercenary army. It was said that they never asked how many the enemy numbered, just where they were. And as the years went by, the Templars grew in wealth and numbers. They were so rich, even kings came to them for loans. But at the height of their power, they fell foul of the King of France. He rounded them up and turned them over to the Inquisition. Thousands of Templars were subject to torture and confessed to heresy. Of course, at the hands of the Inquisition, there wasn't much they wouldn't confess to. The last Grand Master Jacques de Molay was burned alive. But the treasure of the Knights Templar was never found.
Jeez. So the treasure is hidden, waiting to be discovered?
If there ever was a treasure, it's been lost for 600 years. Anyway, we're supposed to be investigating a serial killer, not a medieval treasure trove.
But maybe that's what the clown and his accomplices are after. Maybe this manuscript is the key.
You'd better leave it here for safekeeping. Think about it, George. One guy's already died for it, as you said yourself. Besides, that parchment is fragile.
Okay, I'm convinced. You keep hold of it. I found Plantard's briefcase in the killer's hotel room. It was empty, of course. Let's take another look at the manuscript.
Let's face it, we need help, George. Someone who knows about these things.
Who do you suggest? Indiana Jones?
I know a guy who specializes in medieval studies. His name is Lobino.
Huh. Some stuffy old fossil who gets horny over ancient relics, I suppose.
Far from it. Andre isn't the stereotypical professor you have in mind.
Where can I find this Lobino guy?
At the Kroon Museum. I'll give you the address.
There's a guy with a sword and a bull.
The only mythological bull I know of is the Minotaur, but he was only half bull.
I don't think I'd like to be half a bull, even if it was the bottom half.
What's that object between them?
It looks like a gem on top of a tripod. There's a guy with a sword and a bull. Between them is a... There's a guy working on a loom. He's weaving a carpet or a tapestry.
Or a duvet cover? It's a clue to a place, I reckon. Somewhere famed for weaving and ships.
Where folk live in barrels?
It beats copper boxes.
There's a guy working on a knight with a crystal ball. Now, there's something written on the scroll beside the knight.
Yes, but it's written in Latin. Per disciplinam mea lux videbis.
By my teachings, you will see the light.
You speak Latin? Where did you learn a trick like that?
A trick? I studied law, okay? I can read Latin.
My, you're touchy. Tell me that again.
Through my teachings, you will be enlightened. The night scroll bears a phrase, through my... There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
She reminds me of the wicked queen in Snow White.
She was the one who said, mirror, mirror on the wall, wasn't she? She made me cry so much when I was a kid, Mom carried me out of the movie theater.
She didn't frighten me in the least.
Like I said, I was only a kid. I didn't like the crocodile in Peter Pan either. There's a woman looking, but the reflection... Maybe I'll check out the Kroon Museum.
I'm sure you'll find it useful, George.
Tak, jsme na ulici před apartmánem Nico, kde dnešní díl Let's Play začal a taky skončí. V příštím díle se tedy vydáme za oním mistrem přes historii a zkusíme se s ním poradit o pergamenu, který jsme našli u našeho klauna vraha. A je to věc, kvůli který Plantarda zabil a asi tušíme, že s největší pravděpodobností se bude celý příběh motat kolem rytířů templářského řádu a nejspíš půjde jak jinak o to pokusit se objevit jejich poklad nebo něco, co zbylo z jejich pradávného jmění, kterým byli tak proslulí. Jak to bude celý pokračovat dál, kdo se nám postaví do cesty, kdo ne a jestli se náhodou nevydáme z Paříže nebo dokonce z Francie někam úplně jinam, pátrat podle toho, co rozklíčujeme v muzeu z pergamenu, se dozvíte v dalším pokračování Let's Playe, pokud se na něj podíváte. Takže já jsem rád, že jste se dívali, pokud jste se dívali na 2 a budeme dál ve 3. díle pokračovat s touhletou úžasnou adventurou z roku 96. Takže naschle příště.